Welcome back to Sika Strength. Welcome back to Sika Stan. Today, we're asking the question of what is upper body training for golf? This question is a bit of a strange one, right? Because even asking it infers that there could be some negatives to doing upper body training as a golfer, or that some people might view it as a disadvantage. So, what's going on here? Before we go any further, here's a 2 training session per week upper body training plan for golfers. This can be added into your standard training plan. So session 1 is explosive lateral wall balls, 6 sets of 8 each side, around 5 to 10% of body weight. Then exercise 2 is dumbbell bench press, 5 sets of 8. I won't prescribe the weight here because this will be massively dependent on your level of experience. Then we finish off the session with 2 supersets. So the first superset is cable tricep extensions and a rolling plank drill. Then second superset is bent over cheater rows and prone plate press. Now for the supersets, around 4, 5 or 6 sets of probably around 30 seconds of work on each one will be perfect. And obviously with all of these sets and reps, you progress them from week to week. Session 2 then will be a barbell push press, again 4 or 5 sets of around 4 reps. Then exercise 2 is pendlay row, supersetted with an RDL, ideally in the same complex. Once again, then we finish with 2 supersets, so side planks and pull-ups, and then prone back extension holds or prone back extension reps, supersetted with some bottoms-up kettlebell press. Same kind of prescription here again for those supersets. Okay, so let's get into it. Well, the first thing is most golfers are not restricted in their game by lack of strength or speed or power. Most recreational golfers are restricted by skill proficiency and time available to practice and some general movement restriction. So tight shoulders, immobile hips and backs, and a lack of ability to effectively rotate and transfer power from the legs is a major issue. But does this mean we shouldn't be training the upper body? Of course not. Just because your car might be overdue a service, it doesn't mean you shouldn't ensure there's enough tread on the tyres or fuel in the tank. Our point is, you, as a golfer or an athlete or however you like to identify, should be working to make your entire system as robust, healthy and effective a tool as is realistically possible. We've done a number of videos talking about strength and power training and rotational training for golfing, but what about the upper body? Well, let's start this off by laying out the argument. There are 3 reasons we want a golfer to train their upper body. Firstly, positional strength. Secondly, resilience against injury. And thirdly, development of lean tissue mass. Aesthetics, of course, play a role here, a role which is likely to be more poignant than most of us would like to admit. But for the sake of keeping this video essay a reasonable length, we'll say an appropriately muscled upper body is nice. Most of us want more of it. And now that we've that covered, let's move on. Right, so positional strength is up first. What do we mean here? Well, the golf swing relies on you being able to maintain certain positions with the arms and shoulders while a massive amount of speed and power are generated by the lower body. This necessitates strength of the hands, wrists, arms, shoulders and upper back to be able to hold the correct positions throughout, ensuring the correct attack angle and amount of lag as you go through the swing. Imagine for a second you're back to being a 5-year-old picking up your dad's golf club. As you try and swing the club, your wrists aren't able to control the weight and your shoulders struggle to stay over the ball. And you end up taking a chunk out of the ground as you try to make contact with the ball. Now this gives you a fair picture for what poor club fit and swing mechanics will give you, but what you're also seeing is a drastic lack of upper body strength. This, of course, is a hyperbolic example, but the golf swing is extremely sensitive, and although you're strong enough to swing the club easily now, what about on the 50th swing of the day? Or what about when the ball is sitting deeper into the rough and that club is gripped by the fescue with an almost magnetic draw? Stronger hands, wrists and arms help you to get through things that are tough. Dainty little hands and weak wrists are for actors and old ladies, not for an athlete. So, how can you work towards a more robust upper body? Firstly, training the upper body muscle groups twice per week will make a huge difference. Multiple studies have found an increase in upper body hypertrophy and strength going from once per week to just twice per week in training. These significant differences were found both in building the strength of the muscle and power, but also the amount of lean tissue mass gained. We also know that volume is the most important thing, so prioritize building volume at your working weights. Don't simply build up to one working set. Let's take our sample sessions again as a reference point. So twice a week you'll be doing some sort of upper body pressing. The bench pressing will allow you to move some more weight, therein eliciting some bigger changes in muscle mass and strength, and the bottoms up kettlebell press will add overall volume while training stability and proprioceptive awareness and overall motor skill development. All of these will help the arms and shoulders to maintain better positions throughout your swing. The next thing now is the resilience side of things. Golf, by its very nature, is repetitive. And it being as repetitive as possible, as consistently as possible, is really the name of the game. So its players are at a pretty clear risk for repetitive strain injuries, such as the aptly named golfer's elbow. Generally speaking, most of the injuries and aches endured in golf are chronic, tendinous, and can be inflammatory or non-inflammatory in nature. So if it's wrist, shoulder, elbow, or back, it's getting sore and keeping you from playing good golf, what should you do? Well, the number one rehab tool for tendinous injuries, particularly epicondylitis, either lateral or medial, i.e. tennis or golfer's elbow, is weighted eccentric training. This is the lengthening of the muscle tendon unit under tension. Think about the descent in the squat or the bench press as the barbell comes down onto your chest or as you sit into the bottom of the squat as the example. The opposite of this is concentric. You'll notice almost all of the exercises included in our sample sessions have both eccentric and concentric elements to them, and so will help make you more bulletproof against the tendinous style of injuries. In obvious cases where particular attention needs to be paid to a specific tendon, things like lengthened eccentrics or timed eccentrics can be used very effectively. The next element of injury prevention, which can be helped through upper body training, is by increasing the joint stability and mobility through full ranges of motion. Having an upper back which is capable of stabilizing your shoulder during a bodyweight bench press sets you up excellently to be able to absolutely bomb drives as aggressively as you can control. You really want to view your strength training as building a physical structure which is far more capable for anything you currently want to do, to ensure yourself against any stresses, against things you may need to do or endure later on. A full bench press or pull-up will have your shoulders going through far more range of motion than what is required of the shoulders in a golf swing, but our training should always be giving us the margin for error in terms of stability and control that we might need in the future. The final reason for golfers doing upper body strength work is to develop more lean tissue mass. Golf is not a physically demanding sport, mentally demanding, yes, but in terms of calories burned out on the course, it's really not up there. For that reason, we see golfers both recreationally and professionally struggling to maintain good body fat percentages and health values. Doing some additional upper body training can add lean tissue mass which can act as a sink for glucose, thus helping regulate blood sugar levels more easily without the use of insulin, while also acting as a good metabolic engine to help more calories burn. Now, it would be remiss of me to talk about upper body training in golf without touching on some of the concerns the naysayers may have. There tends to be two concerns which are most often referenced. The first of these is the idea of becoming muscle-bound and restricting your swing mechanics. For this reason, we've heard people swearing blindly that golfers or tennis players should never ever do a push-up or a bench press, as their pecs will get in the way of their swing. This sounds absurd, of course, and I don't think any modern crop of intelligent practitioners would agree with this, but if you are concerned by this, just take a look of any of the greats and see what their physiques look like. Tiger, Rory, Scotty, all of them have a good amount of chest development, and it certainly doesn't seem to hold them back at all. On the more severe end of things, we don't see Bryson's significant physique holding him back from anything. And if this were true, then golfers who were in even worse shape, so not muscular but rather swelling around the belly, would have some sort of decrement, Now, I'm not sure if you've seen John Daly swing a club, but it certainly doesn't seem to be holding him back too badly. The second thing is the fact that some coaches just don't see the value in players being stronger and more powerful. In this case, I'm not going to waste the time, both mine and yours, by explaining the most basic levels of sports performance. Stronger, faster, more powerful athletes have the potential to be better than the physically illiterate, weak and feeble. It's as simple as that. Is skill important? Yes. Is the physical development of a player important? Absolutely it is. And if you have someone telling you it's not, then I'd start viewing their opinions with a certain degree of skepticism. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see some comprehensive training plans, please check out the Sika Strength app. Available on iOS or Android, it's available at the link below. We have a broad selection of programs, all the way from complete beginner strength blocks, all the way through to more advanced S&C work. As always, if you have questions about anything in today's video, please drop them down in the comments below. And if you have questions about training or consultancy, please email us sikastrength@gmail.com.